if you and I raced, okay? So there's a starting line, there's a finish line, there's somebody that says go, and then there's an audience watching on who can very clearly see who gets to the other end first. If we raced, I just explained a race, but my legs are tied together. And maybe I got some slack, right? Like maybe they're not hooked up, but they're tied. I got a rope on them, they're tied. I can't run. I can do something like it, or little shorter steps, or maybe when they say go, I start hopping. Or maybe when they say go, I start doing somersaults. Like, it doesn't matter. I race, you race, we get to the end, and you win. You get to the finish line, but boy, it's just a neck. I mean, you just get there just before I do. 10th of a second. Did you win? I mean, would you felt like you won? Moreover, let me give you a different question, okay? As opposed to did you win? If they untied my feet, would we need to go re-race? Or would everybody understand how that would go based on the obstructed race that we just had? Jake Paul has said that Nate Diaz has turned him down. Turned down a $10 million offer to do MMA with him in the PFL. Now, perhaps the biggest thing I would like you guys to get from this so that you can continue to enjoy what's next for Jake Paul. If Jake Paul said it, it happened. And that's one thing that you cannot count on with fighters. Particularly fighters that are in promotion that are attempting to tell a story. All promotion is storytelling. That's it. The great fights, the big fights, the fights you can't wait to see, that just means that you like the story more than other fights. Oh, that's the number one fight I want to see. That means that you like that story more than whatever fight would be number 2 or number 3 on your list. The great promoters are great storytellers. So I offer that because it is very unique about Jake. If Jake ever tells us anything about the business, what he's going to do, how he's training, what his next plans are, I'm going to do this sport, I'm going to go do this sport, I've got this opponent, here's the money, here's the number. If he ever tells us, he tells the truth every time. The first indicator that we got on this was his second fight with Tyron Woodley that did not do the numbers that he wanted it to do. We got that information from him. I'm just reminding you of this. It's very important because Jake came out and told us that Nate has turned down a $10 million offer for MMA against him in the PFL. I do not question any of those things. I believe them all to be absolutely true. Because Jake always tells us the truth. But doesn't it come back to the example that I gave you about the race? Because isn't that exactly what happened with Nate? They took every tool that Nate likes away from him. Now, I personally think Nate's a really good boxer. And I have boxed with him. It's not just I have watched him, I have felt him, and I think he's a really good boxer. But it's not what he says about himself. As a matter of fact, you're not going to go anywhere and find Nate bragging about any skill that he has aside from his Cesar Gracie Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And he will show the respect to say Cesar Gracie's name. He will never just say Jiu-Jitsu. He will never just say black belt. That is what he's most proud of. As a matter of fact, Nate gives back. Nate now teaches other kids. He holds classes. He shows people how to do this, but he doesn't show them how to do boxing. He shows them how to do jiu-jitsu. So, whether we think he's a good boxer or not, my argument that we took his best tools away, of course that's true. They not only took his best tools away, they took his medicine away. Remember that whole story where they're going to fight in Texas? Remember that whole big thing? And he was even talking about moving the fight? They took his weight class away. They took USADA away. They took his 5-minute rounds away. They took everything you could possibly take from him. You're going to watch that contest and tell me that he didn't win? Are you the same person that's going to watch me run a foot race with my legs tied together? I lose by a 10th of a second. You're going to tell me that I didn't win? Really? Do you really mean that? Did I really not win? I had this tested one time. I was so appreciative. Babalu Sobral, who at one point in my life was like an enemy of mine. He was an opponent, but Babalu and I went at it at least 3 times. 3 times. 2 MMA fights, grapple fight. When we get ready to go do the grappling, Babalu comes out, he changes the rules. And this was such a nice thing for him to do, right? Me taking on Babalu, who's beaten me in combat in front of the world, and he's given me another chance to get that one back. And then he changes the rules just before the event. The rule, it was set for 20 minutes, and he says if we go 20 minutes, it's a draw. Rather, that was the rules of the event. Babalu says no, he's coming to my world. We go 20 minutes, he wins. I tap him out or I lose. Anything besides me tapping him, Chael wins. And it was just a very nice thing for Babalu to do. It was very nice because it represented sportsmanship. It showed a courage within himself. It showed a discipline and a belief within the sport that he loved, which was jiu-jitsu. And he also honored my courage to go in and compete with him. It was a very nice thing to do. I've looked at Babalu different ever since. Always been appreciative. But as much credit as I give Babalu, did Babalu do the right thing? Isn't that obvious that Babalu said that or should have said that? Because I didn't say that scene about Nate, but it's exactly what they did. They handcuffed the son of a bitch. They put these pillows on his hands that he's never had on his hands outside of practice. They put him in an environment that he's never been in. They took his 5 minutes round and made it 3. Everybody knows he wants to do more rounds. They tried to retell the story and go, well, it's 30 minutes and he's only been scheduled for 25 more in MMA. So this actually favors Diaz, which has never been the argument. Diaz doesn't want 5-minute rounds. He doesn't want breaks within the rounds. He wants to go back to old school where they just fought like an actual real fight. I'm just saying they took everything away from him. He went did it. Wait, you're going to tell me that he didn't win the fight? You're going to tell me that we need to take these ropes off the legs and then have them go fight? Really? Really? You have a question as to how that would go after what you just saw? You just saw him handcuffed. You wonder what's going to happen when they take the handcuffs off? When they take his ability to grab and use his grippers that he's done his whole life, when they take those off and put them in the gloves that he's used to. Really? You really have that question? That surprises me, I mean, I must tell you. And by the way, Nate Diaz telling you no, just so you understand, like if that's something you want to do and you want to go ahead and pursue it, I would encourage you to pursue it because Nate Diaz telling you no is the first step. Nate Diaz hadn't told anybody yes the first time. I mean, not for nothing. I'm just sharing with you. I thought it was interesting. I thought the whole thing was interesting. I thought our business between them was settled. In fact, I thought it was very clear. I thought we all had our answers, right? To the victor goes the spoils. Like, we don't deny that. We don't take that away. But didn't we also get our answer? Was it also clear if we weren't participating in a boxing contest, if we were doing an actual fight? Is it just me? And in addition to that, I do think that happened. I do think that Jake Paul is telling us the truth. And also within that interview, Jake Paul said for himself, he said, I'm at the drawing board. I am back to the drawing board. I thought I had some momentum. I thought I was going to go in this direction, but we're not. Got big, got strong, had the right guy at the pro show. We had all of these pieces, got told no, back at square one. I believe him. And in lies the scenario of Jake Paul's career, which is you've got a guy that's got the money, got the attention. What you didn't know he has is the skills. And when you found out he had the skills, I don't see anybody lining up. I don't see anybody offering. I don't see anybody trying to step in and get that spot. I don't see boxers challenged to box. I don't see MMA guys challenging to MMA. I don't see MMA guys challenged him to box. The boxers challenged to MMA. I don't see anybody challenge Jake Paul at all. So if we're all in the spirit here of just telling the truth, you guys are a bunch of wimps.